All right, hello everyone. So, I apologize in advance for this being a little bit late. I wanted to make sure it was quality and I gave you all the information. So, with that being said, today will be, hopefully, you guys can see me okay because I cannot see my preview person. Let me see what I look like sitting down. Floating head vibes. Okay, that's fine. Okay, okay. That being said, today is going to be a longer one. So if you hear me talking quickly, that's why I'm just trying to make sure this isn't like a million years long. This is more introductory kind of topics, and we will get into this more and more down the road. So let's get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about how to work with brands, where to get started, and I called it Set Up for Success with Brands, Pitches, and Landing Your First Gig. So, first of all, and I also apologize that a lot of this is lots of text, but towards the end, we'll have it's a little bit prettier to look at. So, first of all, let's just talk about types of gigs. And I'm going to move my person over here and make myself small. Okay, so there's a bunch of different types of gigs, and I'm just going to kind of go through them. Some of these, also my hair's up, so it's just kind of blending into the background. It's all good. A lot of these can overlap, so just remember that. And again, it's just all introductory. So first of all, we have a collab or collaboration, working together on a project. We've got e-commerce, so a modeling gig to model clothes, and all of this, side note, is kind of filtered and pushed like from a model's perspective or in the modeling world. Okay, so modeling gig to model clothes or products for a sales website. There's paid gigs. So there's two types of paid gigs. There's a flat rate, which is something that's a typically one-time payment for a project. Sometimes that's split up over time, but flat rate, so you'll get the one rate, if that makes sense. And then there's commission-based. Commission-based gigs are paid out of a percentage of sales that you refer. So say I'm Amber Schwartz Photography and you are my commission-based person. You get a percentage, let's say 25% of each person you refer to Amber Schwartz Photography. Whatever package they pay, I would pay you out 25%. So that's what commission-based work is. And usually that's either ongoing for indefinite amount of time or a set number of time. Then there's discounts. So receiving an exclusive discount on unavailable to the public. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But remember, the two words or the two key terms are exclusive and unavailable to the public. Then there's trials, receiving pre or promo, PR, whatever you want to call it, receiving free product with nothing in return. So you don't do anything for the free product, and there's no pressure to post about it, but it's probably wanted. Event or promo is being the face of a brand or product at an event. So a really great example that most people know are like Red Bull girls, where they're at an event with Red Bull and they're Red Bull girls. I don't know if that's what they call them, but and then there's marketing campaigns, editorial type campaigns, for example, billboards, things like that. Okay, so scams to watch out for with these types of gigs are receiving a small discount and being asked to post about it or share your code. So if someone is going to give you a 10% discount and they want you to purchase the product and share it, that's probably a scam. It's probably just a marketing tactic to get people to follow this brand, etc. And a lot of times you'll receive messages from a person that isn't even associated with the brand. They just claim to be part of this brand. And it basically is a quick scheme to get follows. So for example, this is probably the one everyone gets in their inboxes. It's like, hi, I'm Amber with Beach Babe Bikini. And we want you to message us about a collaboration. We want you to be an influencer. We'll give you 15% off to purchase our bikini and post about it. That's probably a scam. It's probably just a quick scheme to get you to follow whatever brand they're talking about, but they actually aren't going to offer you anything. And then paying an exposure. Exposure is a term we use to say, well, I have 100K followers, and if I post you on my story, you're going to have all that exposure. But you have to remember, exposure doesn't pay the bills. And in reality, you would probably gain 3 to 5 followers for work that you're going to be doing. And 3 to 5 followers is not worth your time and work and effort, etc. So I would just stay away from anyone that says we'll pay you an exposure, because it's not a thing. Okay, so let's talk about what our brands and companies are looking for. Let me make my person bigger. Okay. So each type of brand and company may be looking for something different. So let's talk about that, okay? And let me move my person again. Okay, so small companies, think local companies, local businesses, are going to, these are the things that they kind of look for or want, and each person is different. So just remember, this is just introductory kind of way to look at it. But let's take a small business, for example. Okay, here in Cortez, we have that boutique. What is it called? Oh, I don't remember now. So I'll just not use that. Okay. So saving money is always really important to them, especially if they are a small business owner or self-employed, a family company, things like that. They want the interests of locals in their town. So they're often going to go with locals in their town. They want to appease their demographic. Okay. So their demographic might be locals. Let's talk about here in Cortez, might be wanting local people in Cortez to come into their store. Okay. And we're going to talk about reaching demographic versus appeasing the demographic. In a local setting, you're already reaching the demographic because you're already there, right? And this is applicable to like brick and mortar stores and online, but typically it's brick and mortar. And when I'm talking about brick and mortar, that's a term of like a Walmart is a brick and mortar store. They also have an online store, but they're brick and mortar first, if that makes sense. And some stores may only be brick and mortar, so in-person stores, okay? So they're already reaching their demographic. Now they need to appease them, right? So if we're in Cortez, which is a relatively more conservative area, appeasing to country folk, more rural people. We have lots of younger people, not like people in college, but lots of people who are 18 and lower, and then older people, typically older 20s to elderly people, right? So we want to appease those people. So opening a gay pride store here in Cortez isn't going to be appeasing the demographic, right? Just because it's not the demographic here. So that's something that they think about a lot. Lots of more in-person events and marketing campaigns, which are typically smaller and local, but they do have them, say newspaper, local commercial, radio station, anything like that. Even billboards here in town. Okay, let's talk about online companies. So online companies, a really good example that I think of right off the top of my head, because I have something from them right here, it would be like Dolls Kill. It's a clothing website, things like that. Typically on the smaller side, they're not like on Walmart.com, okay? But this can be anything from an Etsy store to a huge retailer. But we're going to talk more on the smaller side here. Okay, so social profiles are very important. They want to reach their demographic. They don't necessarily want to appease their demographic because they're doing their own thing. They want to reach their demographic audience. And when I'm talking their demographic, who are they selling to, right? So I would say Dolls Kill, for example, because I was just talking about them. Their demographic is probably mostly female or people who identify as female, and any younger people. So anywhere from late teens to late 20s. Okay, that's their target demographic. Everything else is great and bonus, and they do offer things for other people, but that's their target demographic. They're looking for collaborators' assets. So what if they're going to collaborate with someone, what do they bring to the table? versus like small companies aren't really thinking about that. They're thinking more about saving monies, local interests, etc. Um, and if they fit their look. So while small companies are going to want you to be very, very moldable and do exactly what they want, they maybe online companies who are kind of doing their own thing, who aren't trying to appease their demographic, might want someone that already fits the look, if that makes sense. Same aesthetic, same personality, etc. Okay, let's talk about large companies, corporations, and this involves brick and mortar stores and online. And I'm going to use Walmart as an example. Okay, so very large marketing campaigns with a big budget, right? So that's high money, high dollars. They're spending millions of dollars on marketing. I personally had experience working in marketing, social media management, and event planning for Harley Davidson. So they spend millions of dollars on marketing. It's like one of the biggest things in their budget. Less personal style from collaborators. So take an online company such as Stalls Kill, versus Walmart or Harley Davidson. The person's personal style isn't going to matter as much. Maybe for Harley Davidson, they would want someone who rides motorcycles. But if they're looking for models, they don't necessarily have to be bike models, if that makes sense. Socials don't matter as much, and your portfolio is more important, okay? And it's typically paid gigs only. So now you know what types of genres and types of gigs there are. Let's talk about if you are personally ready for a brand deal or gig, okay? And I'm going to move this down here and I'll move it up once I get through these subjects. Okay, so let's talk about age and maturity. Are you old enough to read and sign contracts? So 18 and older. And just so you know, some states do allow 16, 17, 18 to sign contracts. Just depends, but maturity is also very important as well. Do you have a parent or guardian who's open to helping you with these? If you're not, then you might not be ready for this, and that's okay. Are you ready to advocate for yourself? So as a model, you're going to be your own advocate. Are you able to advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself, negotiate prices, and have your own time management skills and be able to talk about that? Because it's really important that you can. Professionalism, are you able to, or are you ready to work, have time management, an open line of communication, and present yourself in a professional way? This is really, really important with dealing with brands. Brands might have an entire team dedicated to marketing and collaborations, things like that, social media management, and you are just one person doing everything. So you have to make sure you're ready to present yourself in a professional manner. And then another thing is, are your social platforms brand friendly? I know a lot of social platforms, when they go to work with someone and you're talking about maybe the gig is only related to Instagram, but if your Facebook, Twitter, etc., is filled with ex, you know, explicit content, curse words, really high political things, anything like that is not brand friendly. Okay, so you can be brand friendly by just filtering that stuff out and try not to present yourself in an inappropriate way online. And that's different per brand. So remember, if you want to work with more alternative brands and your Instagram and social media platforms are more alternative, then that might be fine. But if you're working with a place like Walmart, let's just say, for example, Walmart's known for being more conservative type of corporation. If you're posting about, smoking marijuana, probably not going to like that. But if you're working with a cannabis company, that's fitting. So just remember that. But if you want to be completely safe and be able to work with any brand, then you can think about how brand friendly your social media is. And you can just look at it as if your teacher or parent or something was looking at your social media. Okay, I'm going to move this up and talk about the next ones if I can move it. Okay, so subjection are, if you're doing social media gigs, are you ready to subject your followers to a certain brand? This is really, really important that I think a lot of people don't think about. If your followers are all your friends and family, if your followers are people that like you for your style, your makeup, your modeling, whatever it is, how are they going to react to you presenting a brand, right? Would it be better in a more candid way, like on Instagram stories saying, oh, like, hey, I just wanted to share this treadmill with you guys, whatever it is, or would they react better to a total professional setup um, that was sponsored by this person, etc. Have you thought about your influence on people? Have you thought about the way people are going to react or respond? And have you thought about how many people will purchase from your gig, right? So think about that. And think about your demographic and your target audience. Okay. Personality. Are you willing to let go of the overall look of campaigns? Are you moldable? This is more for marketing campaigns, etc. If someone wants a certain look and they want you to do that, how willing are you to do that? How willing are you to let them be the creative source because they're paying you to do something? So if they want you to look a certain way or wear a certain type of makeup or wear your hair a certain way that you don't like, how willing are you going to do that? And how are you going to respond in person when doing that, or just over the job, whatever it is, because that could potentially break your deal. Um, let's see. And then lastly, finances. Are you organized enough to keep track of your finances? Are you able or old enough to do your taxes? Are you organized enough to remember to add this to your taxes, etc.? Things like that. So those are just things to take into consideration. And I personally would recommend making sure you check off all these boxes before considering doing a brand deal or gig. Okay. How to land your first brand deal or gig. Okay. So I have personally worked with brands before, and this is all knowledge I've picked up from my professional background, working with Harley Davidson, doing social media management, etc., doing collaborations and stuff, and then also as a photographer as well, and also personal experience with models and stuff like that. Okay, let me get some water. I think I'm only like 15 minutes in, so we're doing really good. Okay, so as a model, this is something I want to talk about before we talk about how to actually do it, because it's really important, just like those check marks from our last slide. So you as a model are your own advocate, and you are in charge of your career. I can always help you and work with you on things, but at the end of the day, since I'm not taking a cut of your money like normal agencies, you are really the one that is in charge of your career. So if you want to do something, you need to be the one to take the steps to do it. And I can help and guide you and everything like that. But as a model, you are in charge of what you do. So don't wait around for a brand to notice you. Don't wait around, because the level of saturation in this market, in this industry, is insane. And the chances of being noticed tomorrow or the next day or the next day by a huge brand are low. Okay, but you can take matters into your own hand. Okay, and there's so many ways to dip your field in this, or dip your toe in this field. If you aren't ready to pitch to a brand, I want everyone who's interested in doing this, but maybe isn't ready to fully commit to trying to pitch, to maybe try a styled shoot or an e-commerce shoot, so you can add that to your portfolio and get some experience. And when I'm talking about styled shoot, maybe get a dress or get an outfit or get a product or something and incorporate it into your shoot. If you ever wanted to try parts modeling, which is hands, feet, just parts like that, it's usually typically hands, like rings, bracelets, lotion, things like that, nail polish. Try a shoot like that with me. Just see if you're into it and get the feel for it. And then you also have something to present to brands and say, hey, look, here's what I'm capable of. Okay, so let's talk about, and I really condensed this again because this is introductory stuff, but I basically split it up in 2 sections. So first is research. Okay, before you talk to a brand, before anything, I need you to maybe make a list of brands that you might want to work with, local, online, whatever. I would really recommend local or online before you get into the large corporations, because that is a little bit more advanced. So this is kind of tailored towards those things, just so you know. Okay, so narrow down your options, make a list of brands you might want to work with, and do some research, okay? Pick a genre of the gig. So the genre that we talked about, do you want to do a collaboration? Do you want to do a marketing campaign or be considered for a marketing campaign? Do you want to do a trade? Do you want anything like that? Okay. Do you want to make commission? Something like that. Now, I really recommend doing a trade, collaboration, or marketing campaign of some sort first before you try to do commission and things like that. So pick a genre and then do a research of the brand's background as best as you can. Do you want to be associated um, a, with that brand? Are you okay with your name being associated with that brand? Because the minute you are associated, it's there forever. Okay. So, for example, I did a deal with this brand called Save Lands, which is it's a sustainable friendly, I wouldn't call it the most sustainable brand in the world, but a sustainable friendly brand that plants trees for items purchased. And they make t-shirts and accessories like that. And I had a really good experience, and I did research on their claim of planting trees and everything like that. And it is a small business, but they've grown huge on social media, which I was really surprised by. And it's almost like a one-woman show. So it was woman owned. I loved that because I'm a woman who has a small business. I love nature and I love trying to help the planet when I can. So I was good being associated with that brand. So just make sure you're okay with that. And make sure you do your research, because the last thing you want to do is be associated with a brand you do not want to be associated with. Look at who they work with. Do they collaborate? Look at their e-commerce. Look at all their social profiles to see what they're all about and really get to know the brand. And then think of the assets that you bring to the table that complement this brand. So make sure this is personalized, because this will come into play in your pitch. So think of the assets you bring to the table that might complement the brand. For example, for me in Save Lands, I didn't have to pitch. They actually came to me. But, you know, something that I think I bring to the table with them is they like high quality images to post on their social media that isn't e-commerce, but featuring their accessories. And I had nature-based photography work and access to any kind of location. I could have done a desert photo shoot, a forest photo shoot, a snowy photo shoot, a water photo shoot, anything like that, because I'm in such a diverse area. So think about things like that. And that might be more personalized than coming from a photographer standpoint. But okay, then we'll do your pitch. So your pitch is the most important part, obviously. So you can do this two ways. You can create a PDF or a presentation PDF copy, and I'll show you that in a second, to present the idea or deal, right? So you're making a pitch to them. I would recommend doing this in an email form if they're open to it. I know a lot of times they'll reach out on social media, but you can always ask for a good email to present this, so you can give them links. You can do all that, and you're also not like on Instagram. I know you can only type a certain amount of characters. So think about that, having professional email and being professional that way and stuff. But you want to create some kind of appealing document that outlines everything. So make sure you mention a timeline and the details of the deal. So for example, if you're doing a photo shoot, make sure to say, we plan on doing the photo shoot in this amount of time, and then you'll receive the images in this amount of time, things like that. I'll be shooting, in a desert background, and in jeans with this kind of top, and you can create a mood board and send that to them as well. Mention your assets and how you complement the brand. So like I said, beforehand, with I was in the summer, I'm typically nature-based outdoor photography portraits which complements that brand. Mention a backup offer if possible. So if they're not interested in your initial offer, say, and this might be something you want to wait until maybe they reject or something like that, if they reject, or you can mention it, but start high and then lower yourself if you need to. But aim high always. But a backup offer would be, if you're not interested in doing this collaboration, I would still love to be considered for the next one, or I would love to receive some PR to share with my followers, whatever it is. And always, always, always thank them for their time. And this, again, is just introductory, so please just use this as an outline. I'm going to show you guys a demo pitch as this last part and kind of go into it. There are things I did leave out just for time's sake, but again, don't use this as a reference, like as an outline. Use this as a base and build on it, okay? So let's do my demo pitch. So I chose a company called Ana Luisa, and I'll actually show you the, excuse me, I'm not here to take surveys. Okay, I'm actually going to show you guys the brand I picked just to base off this. So it's a jewelry company. They're sustainable. What is going on here? Okay, so Ana Luisa jewelry, it's like supposed to be luxury jewelry that doesn't come at the earth's expense, They have free shipping, fair prices, but they're supposed to last a lifetime, right? And they're carbon neutral. Let's see, let's go to About Us, and you guys can kind of see the gist of their brand. If it will load. So beautiful jewelry. They used to work for a traditional luxury brand, sustainably crafted. They have this like neutral earthy tone aesthetic. Okay, we get it. Let's go back to presenting. So this is my demo pitch to work with them. Now, some of this information obviously is just fake, just for time's sake, and I'm not a model, so. But I did it from a model's perspective. So here's my presentation. This would be included in an email with all my social links, with more information, etc. Okay, so I kind of tried to match their type of aesthetic. Not perfect. It's a template that kind of had the same color scheme or fit the same color scheme. So make sure you pay attention to those kind of things. But collaboration pitch with Ana Luisa earrings. Okay, so this is me. I know I look amazing. Sorry, I don't have makeup on. I just took a random picture I had already uploaded to Canva for our last presentation. Okay, so hi, I'm Amber. I'm a model based in Colorado. And I wrote, hi, Ana Luisa, I'm a model based in Colorado. I love your brand, and I wanted to reach out to pitch a collaboration, which would benefit us both. I'm a signed model with Schwartz Models, an alternative boutique modeling agency, and I'm contracted with a photographer in my area, Amber Schwartz Photography, who has photographed for brands in the past and would be available for providing high quality images in this collaboration. So I basically just did an introductory. This would be a good place to mention your portfolio, anything like that. That's another thing to link in an email would be a portfolio or some images of you. And then on the other side, I just have the title, right. Then I talked about, I said, I love what you stand for, how we can complement each other. So I put sustainability, aesthetic, and jewelry lover. I try and live sustainably when possible, and I'm constantly sharing ways I am sustainable and sustainable brands I love on my social media platforms. Again, this is not real information, okay? I'm pretty sure all of you have seen me drink from a plastic water bottle, so. Aesthetic, I said, I remember the first time I visited your website and I couldn't get over the beautiful aesthetic. I love the neutral and earthy tones you use in your marketing, which is the same aesthetic I feature in my portfolio and social media platforms. So that's how I kind of am linking these things. And jewelry lovers. I'm a jewelry lover and never do a photo shoot without my favorite pieces, several of them from Ana Luisa. Okay. Now I bring in the pitch. So this is what I'm pitching to them. Again, this is just example of something that you might want to do or try or build your base on. Okay. So this is the collaboration pitch. Photo shoot for e-commerce. So I would model with 3 pieces of Ana Luisa jewelry for Ana Luisa's website. You'll be provided, sorry, hiccups. You'll be provided with 30 high quality images that fit Ana Luisa's aesthetic for e-commerce. And then I'll say this at the end actually. I will feature 3 Ana Luisa pieces in my next 3 professional photo shoots with credits on social media platforms. Social posts, I will feature 3 Ana Luisa pieces in 1 post and 1 full story on my Instagram in a candid setting. And then payment, 3 gifted Ana Luisa pieces to be featured and 25% discount code to use and share with my followers. That is good for 3 months. So if they were interested in a collaboration like this, you might have to continue your pitch, right? So for like the photo shoot for e-commerce, I might want to make a mood board, or you might want to include this originally, make a mood board with your ideas for that photo shoot for e-commerce, the color scheme, the outfits, etc. What the shots are going to be set up like, whatever like that. The feature, 3 professional photo shoots. You could link photographers you plan on working with, the theme for the photo shoot, and how you're going to incorporate their jewelry. And then social posts, you can say, here's what I do in a candid setting, and send them an example of, oh, hey guys, here's this lamp that I've really been loving, whatever, payment. So I chose 3 gifted Ana Luisa pieces. So they're giving me free product and a 25% discount code to use and share with my followers. That's good for 3 months. So I chose 25% because that's typically unavailable to the public, but it's not asking for like 50% off or something like that, right? It's doable for a business. 10%, 15%, and sometimes even 20% is available. So I tend to stick away from those unless they're giving you something else, like the 3 gifted pieces, okay? Here's my following demographics. So again, this is just fake, but you would want to include what you bring to the table, which is social media platform, if you're doing like a social media thing. So my Instagram, 1,500 followers. I have 46% overall engagement, 250 likes on average, 25 comments on average. They're 87% female, 13% male, and where they are based out of, okay? Just so they can see how you align with them. And then links to social media, and then a thank you slide. Just thank you for your time and consideration with more info, your contact info, right? So that's just a demo. That's just an example type of pitch. So really, really just use that as a base. And you guys will have access to this PDF as usual. But that's somewhere to start. And if you guys want to send me your pitch beforehand, send me it and I'll look over it and see if I can add anything or suggest edits or whatever it is. But this is a way that you can take your career into your own hands. So if you really want to work with brands, I really, really recommend pitching to brands. And say you just pitch to 1 brand a month. And it's okay if you get 10 no's. Look at it like a job application, okay? Not everyone can say yes, but that's okay because you're still just putting yourself out there and you'll get better every time you do it. Then when you actually get one, you'll be so excited and then more work starts, okay? But lastly, I just want to end this presentation with my full experience when I worked with a brand at less than 1,000 followers. I think I only had 500 followers, okay? So just so you can see how the process looked, and that might be similar or somewhat similar to any experience you might have, okay? So I got a DM on Instagram from this brand, Save Lands, and they work with photographers, a lot of photographers to provide e-commerce images as well as Instagram content. And they also repost like viral videos of nature and stuff like that, right? And so they messaged me and said that they wanted to do a collaboration where they sent me free products and I would photograph them and they would not only feature them on their website, in an e-commerce setting, but also on their Instagram. And I got to keep the products. So I said yes, and we moved the conversation over to email. And they provided me with all their social links. And when I looked through the brand, I also talked to other photographers they had worked with, because that's their main way of making Instagram content and e-commerce content, is working with other photographers. And so I talked to 2 photographers that had worked with them previously in recent times, and they gave me their experience. I asked them about contracts and stuff like that. And they had told me that they didn't really sign a contract because they didn't get like a discount code or anything like that. They just got the product and then gave them the images. So I kind of teeter-tottered on whether I wanted to create a contract or not for this specific thing. And what I ended up deciding, and this is just my personal experience and what my personal decision was that I'm sharing with you guys, is, and this is probably a lot different for models because you want to have a contract in place, but I personally decided to go without a contract. But I had everything in writing. So I asked them to I asked them to outline in detail the collaboration and what was expected of me, timelines, any details like that, and what was expected from me, or of them from me, if that makes sense, in writing. And the way I stated it was, could you just outline the details of the collaboration in great length so I can keep it for my record? That's all I said. And if it ever came to court or something like that, I would have documented proof that it came from this website or this company, as long as we fit those. So it wasn't a signed contract, it was just kind of a written deal, if that makes sense. Again, I don't know if I really recommend doing that, but at the very least, get everything in writing, right? Because that can be used as evidence against them. So that's what I ended up doing, and they detailed the entire thing to me. They wanted to send me 5 items of my choice, and then I was to photograph them in a forest or desert type of scenario for their summer like arrivals. And then I was to have the images done within 30 days and send the link via email with unlimited access to it so that they could download at their discretion, and that they would post at least one post, but probably multiple posts, which they did end up doing multiple posts, but at least one post, as well as feature the images on their website for e-commerce, and that I was not obligated to post, and I was not obligated to share I think it was a 10 or 15% discount code that was available to the public, but they did share it with me if I did want to share the images, but there was no pressure to. So then what was expected of me, besides the images and everything surrounded the images, and I was able to keep the products, was that I was to send 5 models profiles that I would consider shooting with if they were available. So I had to message 5 people, ask them if they were available, just in case I had this. And then they chose out of those 5, actually my sister-in-law, Sierra. And I don't know if I messaged everyone because they wanted them that day or something like that, but I assumed that they would be available within 30 days. And they chose Sierra or this other girl. She's not one of these models, but she's a senior model. Her name's Hallie. So they chose either her or Sierra was their first preference, because they felt it fit their brand best. And so, and if I couldn't work with either of them, to let them know, and they would choose someone else. So that was the outline of the deal. Okay. So then once I accepted, they sent me a link. I think they sent me, I could pick 5 items from their store, and they gave me a code that made it free. And it was only an employee use code, one-time code. So I just I think that was what it was, or something, or I sent screenshots or descriptions of something like that. And I want to say it was a code because I remember like checking out, but maybe it was a special link. But I chose 5 items. It could have been anything from their or new arrivals or bestsellers. So I chose 5 things, and then they also sent me a jewelry pack as well as a tote bag. So those were just extra items that they sent me for free, and they did say that in the email as well. So I had written proof of it. So then I ended up shooting it in Arizona because my sister-in-law lives there, and we shot it in like a forest type setting. We shot all of the outfits. We actually shot at 2 locations because we didn't get done in the first day because we're messing around. But we shot at 2 locations, both foresty. One was like foresty, and then there was like an overlook, and then the other one was like a forest with a lake. So we shot there. We shot all the things. I ended up giving the items to Sierra because they were like a smaller, extra small, and they were not going to fit me. So I just let her have them because she liked them. But I did keep the tote bag because I liked that. And then the rings too. I just don't wear rings that often. So again, I gave them to her. But I did consider keeping them for photo shoots. But we modeled them, and I looked at their social media and kind of poses that they liked and things like that. And then I edited all the images just in my normal editing. And then I sent them the link with unlimited access. They said thank you. They appreciated working with me. They said we want to work again in the future. And then every detail of the collaboration was met. So I had no problems. And that was just my personal experience. It was a really good experience for me. And it was really fun to be able to work with a brand. I want to say they have like over 100K. But it was a really good experience. And that was, in my opinion, that experience could have happened in this type of setting if I had pitched to them. Yeah, so they have over 100. Wow, where is the thing? Over 120K followers, which was really great for me. I don't know if I got a ton of following from it, but I was just really excited to be featured on their page as well as everything else. Let's see if I can find any images on their profile. But yeah, I think that this personal experience could have totally happened if I had looked at them, found a business that works with photographers just as a personal experience, or even models, because they have lots of different types of, it's typically girls on here. Wow, this really won't show. If you guys can see, they have different types of girls and models on here. But it totally could have happened like if I had reached out to them and asked for that kind of experience, right? And I only had 500 followers. So if you don't have a lot of followers, don't worry about it. Here was one of the images. I didn't like this image as much. I was kind of confused how they used it, but I don't know how to get it to show. There it is. So it was just great. It was a great experience. So anyways, I hope that this helped you in some way. I'm going to stop rambling. Send me your practice pitches, or send me your pitch that you want to send off. Portfolio is really great to attach. Anything that kind of helps, just like a job interview. And I really recommend starting small with small businesses, and moving up from there. Because like Walmart is going to be like checking their DMs for things like this, right? And then what was the last thing I was going to say? If you ever want to do a local store that doesn't have like an online thing, you can still make a pitch and call them and ask for a good email to send it to or something like that. And even being included in like an upcoming campaign or something, anything like that, just get creative and send me any questions you guys have. But I hope that this helped you in some way, and we will get more in depth on these topics later in training. Next week, I'll have one of my favorite topics I'm so excited about is starting your modeling kit. So we'll talk about what that all is. what should you bring to photo shoots every single time? What are some staples you should have as a model, etc. But I'm signing off, and I hope that this helped everyone, and I will see you guys on Saturday. Okay, bye.